You got tired of carrying your 120-pound half stack around, so you downgraded to a combo amp, but that thing still weighs 50 pounds. And now you're sick of carrying that around. What option do you have? What if I told you that you could go from this to this without sacrificing much of your tone at all with today's modern modeling pedals? But modelers sound like hot garbage, right? And nothing beats a tube amp plugged into a 4x12 cab. Well, you're half right. To be honest, tube amps sound killer in a 4x12, but for most gigs, that's way too much power. And with today's technology, you can get really close to the same tone. And they've come a long way since the days of the Spider amp, the M5, and the Digitech pedals. In this video, I'm going to talk about the top 3 pedals, in my opinion, that you can get. And that is the Line 6 Helix, the Fractal FM9, and the Quad Cortex. To be completely upfront, this is not a shootout video. There's too many variables in place. It could be my recording, it could be your speakers, it could be anything. What I'm going to do instead is go over a brief overview of what each pedal does well and what each pedal may be lacking in. Ruggedness. The FM9 and the Helix are both built like tanks. The Quad Cortex, on the other hand, is made of metal, but it does seem to be a little bit more fragile, especially with that giant screen. Ease of use. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same move on each of the pedals, and I'm going to change the gain on the amps so you can see how hard or how easy it is to do. The Helix is pretty easy, just a couple hits. The Quad Cortex is crazy easy with the touchscreen. The FM9 is kind of a pain in the butt and not really intuitive. Now to tone. The best way that I can describe it is both the Helix and the Quad Cortex sound a little bit too perfect, almost digital to me. Now there is a way to correct this and make it a little bit better, and I'll get to that towards the end of the video. In my opinion, the winner here depends on the style of music you're playing and what kind of sound you actually want in your tone. The Helix and the Quad Cortex, quite frankly, be really good for metal and progressive playing where it sounds super crisp. But if you're in a cover band, you're playing classic rock and things like that, I feel like the FM9 is going to be a better fit for you. Okay, as promised, why do the Helix and the Quad Cortex sound so processed straight out of the box? In a normal tube cab, the speaker actually has a high cut in it, which cuts it at between 5 and 7K automatically. Now, these processors aren't set up to do that. They'll go all the way to 20K. So as you turn them up, they get brighter and they get harsher, and that's the sound that most people hate. All you have to do is throw a high cut in there on the cab or anywhere in the chain that's going to cut it down to 6K, between 6 and 7K, and you're going to be golden. Even though I know my tone is not perfect and tone is subjective, I get a lot of great compliments at shows about the way it's done. And people are always shocked when I show that I'm playing through a Quad Cortex or I'm going through the FM9. Now you diehard tube guys, I get it. I really do. Like, there's just something magical about standing in front of your 4x12 and having all that air being pushed while you're playing the gig. But to be honest, most gigs that we're playing, you don't need a half stack to play, and quite frankly, they're too loud. But for you, there is something you can do. You can run a modeler into a power amp, and from that power amp, you can still use your cab. What you're going to do is you're going to still save some of that sweet weight that's hurting your back, and now you'll have all the pedals you ever wanted at your disposal. There is one big boy that I didn't mention, and I don't own this one, but is the Kemper. The Kemper, kind of, in my experience from playing them, matches more to the Fractal side of the modeling world. It does sound very organic, but it's a little bit harder to make on-the-fly adjustments. There you have it. You can save your back and valuable time on load in and load out by using one of these pedals. They are all amazing, and you can't go wrong with any one of these units. If you have any questions, feel free to ask below, and I'll try to follow up with you.